All right. Welcome back to Golden Craft Cast. I'm Sergio. Manny's not in, but I am joined by an occurring character, or I should say a guest. Has been in the show a couple of times, and I haven't talked to him in such a while. And I'm sure you guys haven't seen him in such a while. And please, with a big, warm welcome, it's our Erik Rodriguez.
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
What's up, Soju?
what's up, man? So, yeah, I thought we should do an episode. This is a catch up and all. This is a free fall episode, and it's been an interesting time between the times that we haven't seen each other. So I just filled you in on all the fucking information that I just gave you and all that. And yeah, man, it's been a long day today. I'm sure it was, bro. The sun finally fucking came out today in Southern California for like the longest while. Like it's just been June gloom all fucking month and stuff. So, you know, fuck. I'm just glad I haven't seen the sun because I just came from San Francisco and I was joking that, oh yeah, he brought San Francisco over to us. And I'm just like, I guess I have. But now that joke is finally fucking over. Besides me, how are you, man?
I'm fine. I'm I'm doing alright. Just working and trying to you know get
Yeah.
through life.
Yeah, same here.
Um, but yeah, uh, I started drinking, so I'm just gonna introduce my drink.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Soju, grapefruit. Uh, yeah, I got introduced to this a while back. I had this strawberry one. I finished the strawberry because I bought a six pack,
Mhm.
and I cut a strawberry one. I like the grapefruit better.
Yeah,
Um,
I I do too.
also had some other flavor at some Korean barbecue spot.
Really?
Forget what flavor it was though.
Was it? I think it was the same flavor as I did because I don't remember what flavor I had for the first time I tried like soju. I just been drinking that one ever since, if anything. But
Okay.
yeah, that's actually a really good one. Seems like it is. You look like you're enjoying it. Okay, time for my beer. So I got this creepy looking one. Sorry. It says "Tuck In by a Stranger" by it's a West Coast style IPA. I think this is a paperback. Yeah, it is the paperback. Paperback Brewing Company. We had them before in the past. Um, it's very like movie esque, very like noir, very much like old school Hollywood type of thing. And they always have like the most interesting graphics on it. The tagline for this is "They only break in to tuck you in," which is it's very disturbing. Let's just say that. I was gonna say a couple of things that might not be inappropriate, but I think that might be the one that I'm gonna hold. I'll hold to it. If anything,
Mm.
this is a 6.5. If anything, I just had
I
a
mean,
peak support beer. I tried the Spring Thrills. Spring is over, I know, but I just wanted to try that fucking beer. That was a 7%er, and it didn't feel like 7%. It felt way lighter than it was claiming to be. But honestly, anything from Peak Support so far, what I tasted, is fucking good. If anything, but yeah, I got this. It's very I would say medium bodied, not that thick. You could still see through it, and it's very golden, very light. Uh, the West Coast. I thought it was gonna be like kind of looks like a pilsner, if anything. This one smells different. It smells interesting. Definitely a West Coast IPA. Say that, but it's not as bitter as it is. It's just like up front, it's much smoother, but the bitterness comes at the aftertaste of it all. But yeah, this is interesting beer. I'll come to it as we come. But yeah, of course, you're
Okay.
having the soju grapefruit, and not may not be beer, but it's definitely a good drink. So yeah, but yeah, cheers. Even though
Yeah.
I already drank, you already
Then,
drank. Cheers.
cheers.
Damn,
Uh,
I took off the fucking
yeah. I
lid.
mean, mine just tastes like grapefruit. Like I don't know. Like I mean, it can taste the alcohol, but I mean, I don't know. Just kind of like a flavored drink, really. That's why it creeps up on you. Well, that and the fact that it's 13%.
Yeah. Wait, how much percentage is it?
13.
Oh shit. I I claimed it was 11 earlier. Oh, it's a little stronger than I thought. Anything. But no,
I
you're
think
definitely
it
right
might vary
on the flavors, right?
on the flavor. I think
Yeah.
so. I think so. I'm not so sure though. Um, yeah, I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, I think might. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
But
surprised
yeah,
either. Yeah, man. If anything, there's a lot of couple of things that we were talking off the air on, and
yeah,
I wish I could have you on the next episode, but of course you're doing your own thing. So you want to tell us what event you're going on next week?
yeah. I don't know too much about it, but I just know that
Oh, yeah.
sorry, getting hiccups. Um, it's part of it's a show. It's a woman's show. I believe it's like a clown show. Um, that's part of the Hollywood Fringe Festival.
Okay.
Um, yeah, the Hollywood Fringe Festival. You can Google what that is, but it's basically like theater happening like all the time. Like you can legit go midday in Hollywood, find a parking spot and like see shows back to back.
Yeah.
However, me, I'm busy working and doing stuff, so like I am more selective on what I catch. I would love. I mean, the idea of just going there and just spending the whole day and watching shows back to back, fucking crazy to me. I mean, I would love to do that, but yeah, I I haven't had the opportunity to do that. But this show is called Flayed. It's a woman show directed by David Verdell, which is why I want to go see it. Um, David Verdell is someone like he's someone in LA theater.
Right.
Actually, beyond that, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it's you know
Yeah, he's within the arts. Like if you're
yeah,
into that shit, like
definitely. I mean,
yeah,
he was the dean of USC.
yeah,
I saw a show that he directed at USC with like the grad students, the MFA acting program. This was back in 2014, I think.
okay.
And yeah, it's still a show that I remember. So yeah, I'm gonna go check it out just to see what he's doing, outside of teaching, clown and because he's like the main instructor, I believe, at the clown school in
Okay.
LA. I've taken clown. I've taken comedia del arte recently. Um, just for fun, just to get out the
Yeah.
house. I'm not really much of an actor. But however, clown I did like. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It it emphasized that, oh, we're idiots. Like
Yeah.
as human beings, we're just fucking idiots. Like, and
Yeah, it
it's all
really
right. So then, like, it celebrates that.
yeah,
You
it
know?
really does um go into that because like when it comes to comedy, well, this is what I heard, but Americans are good at making fun of themselves. So having to make fun of yourself is sort of like a craft or sort of like a mindset that you want to get into to, you know, express certain things that what's makes you vulnerable, but that vulnerability, it could be funny. It's like, oh, it doesn't have to be all this sad shit. It's just, you know, going into that deep um this is where I lose myself. Uh, Going into that deep humanity part of yourself and just making something light out of it. Really.
Yeah.
That's the best way I
Yeah.
can phrase it. But yeah. There's a reason why I said that because I'm watching a show that's kind of like a dark comedy. Really goes into that. But yeah, yeah, dude, that's fucking cool. So you say you've
Yeah.
only been to like a couple of his classes, or
Yeah.
yeah, how's that?
Yeah. That was quite good. I might retake Clown. Comedia dell'arte, like, if you know your theater history, you know what that is. That one was cool, but it was just more like you have to be creative within a box. Like you get assigned this character, like whether it's a Zani or you know um a Pantalone, or you know um you get assigned a specific character, and that character comes with certain restrictions.
Mhm.
I don't know if restrictions is the right word, but like that character, he or she moves a certain way, like they walk a certain way, or
Right.
like they speak a certain way. They have a specific demeanor. You can get creative within that demeanor,
Yeah.
but you're still bound to that demeanor and that way of speaking. Um, like it has to be like this alter ego that you create. Whereas in clown, you are creating an alter ego, but it's more. It's a little bit rooted. It's closer. It's rooted closer to your actual ego, your yourself. You learn, like, okay, like, you know you like
Yeah.
you're gonna fail. You're a failure. You fail stuff, and what you do with that failure, like there's so much creativity within that failure, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Even with those flaws, like you could create something out of those things.
Yeah. If people are wondering whether this is the type of clown that does, like, birthday parties or something, like, I mean, yeah, that may be one route to go about it, but like it's mainly exploring, like, the type of clown that's like, like Kramer. I'm sorry, Kramer from
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
That's the type of clown. That's the type of physical comedy. You get me?
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
Will Ferrell, he's the type of clown too. But he's the type, like, there's certain types of like, at the clown school, they kind of keep it a little bit basic. They don't fully. They just teach you, like, the basic stuff. So like we really only explored two types of clowns, which is the Joey and the Goose. The Goose is like the loser in all of us.
Oh, okay.
Like like nothing works. He or she's just gonna go up there, and they're gonna fail whatever they try to do. Like they try to do ballet or whatever, they're gonna fail at it, and, like, Whereas the Joey, like, he's like the top dog. You get me? He or she's the top dog. Like, no one can say, like, he or she failed at what they're doing. Like, it's like Will Ferrell and Anchorman. He's the top Anchorman.
Yeah.
There's no saying there. You cannot talk to that character out of that mentality, that opinion of himself. You get me? Like, he's top dog. You get me? Well, the rest of us know that it's not the case. he's a freaking idiot. You hear
Yeah,
me?
it definitely is. I know there's different clowns of all sorts and everything, and um, I don't know what I don't know if you've seen Baskets, but I mean that's about a clown that's like he does go to clown school, the most prestigious clown school ever, and then he comes back home and he learns how to be the clown. Like I just feel like school was sort of like a push, but for him to discover what type of clown he was gonna be, that can't be teach at school and stuff. So it's it's definitely a craft, Like I do believe that definitely is a craft, and in itself, it's also like an acting craft as well, because you're placing yourself at a very vulnerable place, and at that place that you're just like you're taking yourself out of a comfort zone just to explore like what you are inside. And it's also therapeutic and stuff, which is speaking a lot of levels on something that I've been watching. Uh, I actually been watching Barry. It's a HBO show that stars Bill Hader, and not only stars, but it's also developed. He's the creator of it. He writes in it. He directs most of the episodes, and it's not just. And it's about like a hitman wanting to be an actor, and through acting, he becomes. It's debatable, but he's trying to become a better person in some sense, and he's showing vulnerability a lot, and at times where you didn't expect it. And the whole thing is just like a whole journey about like self discovery or the hidden things that's been kept held in there for a long time. And it's not just about that character, but the characters along with him are going through different journeys, whether they're interacting with him or not. And no, I mean most of them are interacting with him, but it's all the journeys are different and stuff. So yeah, I would recommend that show. But I'm
Yeah, I've
pretty sure you
been.
heard of that show. Yeah.
Yeah, very. I've heard of it, obviously, but yeah, I haven't like I don't know. I'm on this weird funk with TV. Like for example, Baskets. That's been on my list. Okay, like look,
No, I get it. Yeah.
I've been knowing about Baskets since I first took clown. Okay, I first took the first level of clown of the clown school
Hmm.
back in spring. I believe it was like around April of 2018. And then I took a break from clown because I loved it. But that first level I was taught that first level was taught by Stag Steele, who's somebody in the theater, you know,
Yeah. In the sphere.
scene
Yeah.
here in LA and beyond that. But however, he's not teaching at the clown school anymore. I think it's mainly David Bradell. Because when I took that break, I didn't come back till like this past fall, like in October,
Hmm.
to Clown Two. In fact, I remember when I signed up for Clown Two, they emailed me like, "Hey, a record showed that you signed up for Clown Two, but you never took Clown One." But I explained, no, I took Clown One back in, so and so.
Yeah.
And then, okay, you know.
Okay, so
So I
that
took
big
Clown
gap. Yeah.
Two with David Riddell. Um, so I've been hearing about the baskets for since like 2018, and like the concept of that show, and it's been on my list. And like I may watch it now that you reminded
Yeah.
me
I
of
think it
that
should
show
be the
because
first thing you should watch.
also
Yeah.
it stars the great why am I blanking on his name? He
Zach.
plays the mom.
Oh, the late. Um. God damn it. We're both failing at this.
Oh God,
Oh
this is
God.
not good.
This is not good. We're both comedy fucking fans, so
I know. We
Louis.
just lost him
Louis.
too.
Yeah. Louis.
Louis.
Louis. I'm forgetting his last name.
Oh God, I hate to do this, but I think we're gonna have to resort
I
to
thought we were gonna
Google.
help ourselves by just me just pointing out like, oh, it's Louis. Uh
I'm pretty sure there's people screaming at this podcast, like while listening to this
Ah!
podcast. It's sweet. It's so and so. You know?
Yeah, I know. It's just like, I don't, anyways, I shouldn't be doing
Wait,
this
you seen
really.
the show? You seen the
I
whole
seen the
show?
show.
Like all the
Look,
way to the
yeah,
end?
look, I seen the show. I think after he passed away. So I've been
Oh
wanting
wait, no,
to.
hold on.
Yeah,
It's still under development. It hasn't wrapped up.
no, it's done already. It's a
Oh,
yeah, it's a done
oh, they
series.
just they're wrapping up when he died or what?
No, no, no. It was already done before he died.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Louis Anderson.
Yes. Oh God,
I
dude, I'm so
didn't look it
sorry
up. I just
to
remembered right
anyone
now.
listening.
Yeah, fucking Life with Louis. Come
Um,
on, man. I'm telling
I
myself.
don't
I'm
know.
just
I
like
don't
fucking
know.
beating myself up over this. But to be fair, I didn't really see his comedy all that much. But he definitely has like a he's a big name like in comedy. And just like Life with Louis was just like great. And then I didn't see him for a while. And then when he comes up with this, I think it just like reamps his name again. Cause I knew he played the mom. And then it's just like when I watched it after, like posthumous, I was just like amazed. Cause I just thought like, oh, it's Louis Anderson in drag, but it's not just a drag. Cause he really goes into like that mentality of a character. He's just playing a character. He changes the voice, of course, probably puts a couple prosthetics in, but he based it on his mom. And of course, he's played like a couple females out there. And after a while, I shit you not, this will happen to you. You do think, oh, Louis Anderson dressed as a woman, but after a while, a couple seasons in, probably after two, no, before two, you believe he's this woman because he is that woman. You know,
No,
who better to know their
I
own mothers than him? And he really just plays that, and it's just like, wow, it's just like a character realized and stuff. So
no,
you really get to see that talent push through
no, yeah,
in that character.
yeah. No, I believe that. I was listening to a podcast. I believe I want to say it was Mark Maron's
Was it
podcast,
WTF?
and I
Yeah,
can't remember if, huh?
WTF, right? Yeah,
Yeah, um,
he just
the
said the
WTF
exact same
podcast
thing. I
with
just
Mark
yeah,
Maron.
yeah.
And I can't remember if he had Louis on or Zach Galifianakis
I
on.
think it was Louis.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
and they discussed this, the character, but like his take on that character, like his approach to that character, and I believe it's rooted in like in well, first of all, it's really rooted in motherhood. Like he wanted it to like from what I recall from that interview, that podcast, that episode is that he really wanted to root it like in motherhood. Like he wanted it to be authentic, like motherhood. He didn't want the fact that he's a man to that fact to for that fact to stop him.
yeah,
Um, Clown and all that, it was just came in with that role, with that alter ego. Um, but yeah, he I have yet to see the show, but damn, I'm kicking myself for first of all not remember his name. Second of all, for not watching the show. Yeah, I might catch that show soon. Um, Especially studying clown, because I mean, again, like this type of clown, like I mean, yeah, you can do birthday parties and entertain for kids and stuff. Like for
yeah. It's a
example,
different thing.
one of the greatest clowns ever in American history, not just in American history, in history
John Wayne
ever, is
Gacy.
Bill Irwin.
I'm kidding.
Who? Who'd you
I,
say?
I I said John Wayne Gacy.
Dickhead.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. He's the worst human being ever.
Well,
bit of a
Let's not
dark
even
humor
get into
right
that
there. I'm
one.
sorry, I shouldn't have thrown that there.
Um,
But
yeah.
yeah, who
Um,
were you saying?
Bill Irwin.
Mm-mm-mm.
Uh, not to sound like
Oh no, by
you
all
know,
means, go ahead.
not to sound like big headed or anything. Like I know everything about clown or anything, but because I don't. I mean, hence why I plan to retake clown. um,
No, you're
but
just
Bill
impressed.
Irwin
Yeah.
is like is is someone. He's most notably known. I think it's for his role on Mr. Noodle
Oh
and
yeah.
Elmo.
He was also the guy in Jurassic Park 3. Yeah.
He was in Jurassic Park. Okay, here's the thing. Okay,
We'll get into
people don't
that.
know this, but I don't know if I should announce your next episode or if it's cool.
It's implied. It's implied. But about
Okay,
Mr. Noodles, yeah, let's
okay.
go. Yeah.
So it has to do with that franchise.
Hmm.
I have yet to see any movies from that franchise. It's not that I'm avoiding it or anything. It's just I never really had a reason to see it. Like it just flew under my radar as a kid, and as a teenager. I believe the first movie came out in 1993, which is probably why you're dropping the first episode on it, like the first movie.
Hmm.
Um, Not to spoil it or anything, but
I think everyone
oh,
knows.
okay, so like that franchise is like but to hear that he's in the third one, I'm like, oh, okay,
And
that's
I'm not
interesting.
gonna say,
Interesting because he's known for his comedy, his
yeah,
physical comedy.
yeah.
Um,
It's
Again, one
yeah,
of
it's
his
over.
most iconic characters is
Mhm.
Mr. Noodle
I love him. Yeah, I
from
love him as
Elmo.
Mr. Noodles. It's just everything's so physical, and his facial expression is like what sells it. That's why I
Yeah,
remember. Yeah.
so is that type of clown. It's it's that type of clown. It's also I'm blanking out on the figures the that they demonstrated. But I mean, also like Chaplin. Is that his name? Chaplin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a notable clown. Um, but yeah, yeah, I had a lot of fun. I don't know how many listeners we'll get from LA, but if you're in the LA area and you're interested in any type of performance or just interested in getting out of your comfort zone, like myself, like I just kind of wanted to get out the house and explore something. I'm not much of an actor. I've done acting. I did all right for my career college, my
You were
career in
good.
college. I did all right.
You
I
did
did
good.
decent, but I knew I never wanted or you know to explore that beyond college. But
Yeah.
clown, however, like that, I feel like that just taught me like okay, it's okay to fail. Like you're gonna fail, and what you do with a failure, like it's just more about you. Like no one's gonna remember how big of a fail that was, but what you did with that fail, like it's just we can make so much out of it. Not to sound cliche-ish, but when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. It's that. So yeah. So all that to say, yeah, I'm gonna go see that show played on the Hollywood Fringe
That was
Festival.
a hell of a good expansion. No, that was good. If anything, I liked it. Holy shit, we got through that shit. But yeah, Mr. Noodles.
Yeah,
Uh,
Mr. Noodle.
I'm a little
I
curious
mean,
after what you just said about the class, because um, growing out of your comfort zone is an important thing in life. Because in order to grow out of in order for personal growth, you gotta get out of your comfort zone, if anything. So it's the next step of like what not overcoming just a fear, but overcoming a miscomfort. This makes you I think it just makes you more of an open-minded person. But I don't feel it's just that. It's just more an exploration within that person that you have. But I mean, anything with art is an expression, and you get to learn a whole lot after doing it and after reflecting upon it. So I mean, that's what's it all about, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the piece of advice that my mother ever gave me that like really burned into my memory was that she once told me when I don't know, I was a teenager, that it's better to do something to it's better to regret doing something than to regret not doing it, you know.
That's true.
um
That's a reoccurring saying. Yeah.
yeah, you get me.
No.
And
No, I totally agree with you. If anything.
yeah, and this class has definitely, you know, done a good job of reinforcing that, you know. Like, I think, oh my god, I've gone up in front of those, like, my fellow peers, my fellow classmates, and like done or said some dumb stuff, but they don't even remember it. All they remember is like Eric, like you going up there, like we just love seeing you. Like you have a, not to my own horn, but like they always tell me, like you have such a huge heart that we always root for you to succeed. But even when you don't, it's like it's still great. Like I don't know, and it's such a, I don't know, it's just such a great reminder, like I don't know, feel like it's such a great reminder that life is just full of failures. Like it's series of failures. You get me? Um, to a point where it kind of starts affecting you in your life outside of, like, your profession, and starts to, like, for example, like, not to get too much into this, but like, for example, like, I'm a straight male, like I'm a straight guy. Like, even if I wasn't like a straight male, whatever,
Yeah.
like, um, everyone wants to, like, I'm a single guy. You get me? Like, so from time to time I'll meet, women, and like, um, it kind of it kind of ran for. It kind of reminds me, like, okay, like you might meet a woman here and there, like,
Yeah.
you might be interested in her, do your shot, and, like, see what happens. If nothing happens, if we get shut down, if we get rejected, like, it's fine, like, whatever, at least you went for it, like,
Yeah.
you get to move on. You don't get to, like, wonder, like, oh, what would have happened if I would have, just asked her for, like, you know her afternoon, like, like,
Right.
so, yeah.
No. Yeah.
um
Definitely. If anything, it's you're going for a want, and going for that want, you might not get it, but at least you tried. Like in and itself, you're like a character in that story. I mean, I don't want to sound cliche, but being a hero of your own story, and of course, heroes do fail, and you're only doing what you felt was right, or what you felt like I'm gonna give it a shot, you know, as a as opposed to like, oh, wondering what could have happened. But again, it's the whole point of that saying that your mother gave you that advice. But it's interesting because it's going along with like what my professor said after the last class we had, because that's what it is. Like, um, you, the whole reason anyone in that fucking classroom we were there for was to learn, and learn from like how the industry is, and learning how to produce, and learning how to like become one of these people. Uh, and the only thing he told us is just like, just put your art out there, like like what your mom said, like you could only like you never know until you just try, and when you try, at least you did your intention. It's all about intention. Intention to do this, intention to speak out your own story, intention to throw in an idea, and intention to like, put your voice on a concept, on an idea, on anything that just like you feel like you need to speak out, or you feel like, oh, this is a great piece of art that I want to express in that sense. And that's which is what it is. Like you don't know as an artist until you try to do the art itself and really flex that until you know who you are artistically and as a person. So, I mean, it's a great advice throughout the whole history.
But
But yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, that's clown. I don't know how many of you listeners are in LA, but I cannot. I'm not gonna pay for endorsing the clown school.
Oh shit.
In fact,
Maybe yeah,
I'm
you maybe have to.
paying to
But even if you don't
clown
live in
school.
LA, I think like bigger there's a community in every fucking big city, if anything. All you have to do is just look out there and just like know if this is right for you. So you gotta do
Yeah,
it. You gotta try, people. There it is.
yeah, yeah.
You finish your soju?
Hmm?
You finish your soju?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I'm alright for right now.
Right. Cool.
But but well, but yeah. So that's clown for you. What I've learned and clown. You know.
Yeah, I got
Um,
this. This beer is okay for me, if anything. Right now, I'm just feeling. You know what? I'm not gonna fucking. You see this guy right here? I am not relating to that guy or this guy or that guy. Maybe this guy. I don't know. He seems like he's just like, what the fuck is going on? Kidding. I know what's going on. And this beer is pretty fucking solid. I like this beer, to be honest. It's definitely a West Coast IPA, but it's not as pungent or as strong as like an IPA. Because what most people think of IPAs is just, oh, it's bitterness, strong and stuff. But I feel like it's moderated. It's just like on the level on things. Because I don't feel like a whole lot of bitterness at the end. It's just like the back forth is just like that's not as strong. So I think I will recommend this to like sorry, I was about to burp. I think I would recommend this if someone is trying to get into IPAs as an entry level. So I feel like this is definitely an entry level type of beer for IPA drinkers, if anything. So yeah, excuse me, we just got done talking about clowns and whatever in between, and we just finished. Oh, I s- I'm still not finished with my other beer, but you just finished your soju. Yeah. So wait, you got another thing going on?
beer wise or
Yeah,
life
beer
wise?
wise.
Huh?
Yeah, beer wise. But what
Oh,
did you say before?
uh, Laura Kush. I think I introduced it one of the one of the last times I was on the pod.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. That actually does sound familiar.
I don't know. I still had one from the four pack.
From last
And like
time,
I said, yeah.
you bought a 4 pack.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, man. No,
Well, I
that's cool,
mean,
bro. No, how does it taste? Like, is there like, well, we're about to find out, but I'm curious to see,
honestly,
like, if
like
you.
I remember last time I didn't. I wasn't the biggest fan of the taste. It just kind of tasted like weed, really. Uh,
So it was just more pungent on weed than it tasted like beer. It wasn't
yeah,
boozy.
yeah.
Did you feel high?
No,
Okay, then it was just. Did you feel drunk?
A little bit. In the 7.8.
Yeah, that's
Um,
pretty high.
yeah, the
Yeah.
hazy double IPA.
All right. See how that goes. If you're gonna drink it. Yeah.
But
When it comes to like that type of beers, it's either a hit or miss. Cause it's either too pungent and it just like, where's the booze on it? But some things is like, oh, you have the smell on the front fourth, and then it tastes as great as beer. How do you feel about it now? He's just like, nah.
it's all right. I'm kind of glad I had it after the soju. To be honest with you,
Yeah, a little bit
um,
sweeter.
because you know how beer tastes better once you've had a couple. You know,
It kind of does. Yeah,
yeah. You're I don't know. You're once you had a couple, you're in the good buzz, you're able to know the taste a little bit.
yeah.
So yeah.
Um, saying that like after having a couple, I mean, you're a little bit impaired, so maybe your judgment call not might be the best. Do you think like if there's a bad tasting beer and you had it after like all the good beers that you got buzzed on, I mean, wouldn't it just help more, not like quality wise, but just like, oh, I could just drink this and you just get a good buzz out of it and just get through it without having to taste that shit.
All right. So I don't know about you, but like I started drinking when I was like 16, 17.
Oh, I started drinking at around the same time, but not as much. I started drinking more in my mid 20s, even I think a little bit before. But
No, I definitely drank more before I was
okay, for
21.
sure, I trust your judgment on that.
I don't know if it was the appeal of like it being the forbidden fruit because I
I
wasn't
think that's
21 yet.
definitely is for a lot of teenagers. So yeah,
Yeah. But yeah. Oh, so one thing that we would always get as teenagers, because like we always had to ask like adults to like buy it for us or this and that. Um, one thing that we would always get is it's called a 211. I don't know if you ever had that.
2011,
211.
211. No,
Tastes like shit. Bro. It's so gross.
is it
Oh
worse than?
god, I still
Wait, is
remember
it
it.
roast? Is it Is it like roast? Is it worse than like Cobra? Have you ever had Cobra?
Yeah, yeah, I've had King Cobra. King Cobras, yeah, I've had King Cobras.
Is it worse than
It's
that?
worse than that.
What
It's
the
worse
fuck?
than that. It's
Really?
malty,
I'm so glad.
malty, malty. Like just malt. Like dude, it's so bad. Like I still remember that. But the thing is, we would get that because like it would get to a point. You get me?
Yeah,
Um, However, it was always easier to have those after like some Coronas or something.
yeah.
Otherwise,
That's
we
a
would
lot.
you know
Yeah.
sometimes like I mean, so stupid right now, but like we would get like straws and just because it was easier to go down.
Straws. Okay. All right, Belle. Kidding. No, there's actually like a IG influencer, I guess I would say that drinks beer out of a straw, but that's sort of like her style. But for you guys to do that, I think that was kind of a different
Actually,
context
you know what? Hold
quality.
that thought. I'm gonna go get a straw only because like because of the
Oh God.
braces. They
Okay.
tell me
Go ahead. Go. Yeah. Go ahead, man.
because like you're not supposed to be drinking carbonated drinks and stuff. Braces, but yeah.
Oh, with
Uh,
braces. Yeah.
but in the meantime, tell us about like what you would drink and when you start drinking.
When I started drinking, so first couple sips were obviously, no, not obviously, but I mean, I grew up in a Mexican household, Mexican parties, so typical thing you will have Coronas, Tecate, or maybe even Bud Light. Let's not kid ourselves. Bud Light has been a fucking champion. I don't know why, but I had taken a couple sips of Tecate. One time I drank. I remember the first time I I drank like a full on Tecate, I felt like shit, and I was just like, "This is not my fucking beer." But then I drank a Corona, and I was just like, "I like this." But I don't know. I think it's like in terms of quality that when I started drinking different beers, I was like, okay, I think I like this one because it makes me feel a certain way. I think I don't think all beers make you feel the certain way, but the combination of different beers make you feel like a certain way. That's just like, oh, you're on a good one. You're pretty fucking lit. But I never gotten that from Tecate. Tecate's like kind of like I'm not gonna lie, it's a kind of a shit fucking beer from my experience. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
That one was usually on sale.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm saying
for
like in the
sure.
Mexican party set, it's either Tecate, Corona, and then nowadays it's Modelo. Modelo has really been kind of rising on that level. I think I said Bud Light before, but I mean, I think Bud Light has kind of a reputation.
Well,
That I think like up, I don't know how it did sales wise before all this shit happened, but I think I always thought like Modelo was like the king of like light beers on every setting, maybe. But then
mm,
again, no,
um,
you know what? It was Bud Light because if you think about it, it did garner the Mexican American community, but also like white people. I'm just gonna call it white people. I'm not gonna,
um, but that's
but
the
there's a
thing. Like, I
definitely a
mean, I
diversity.
might be a little bit biased because, like, for some reason, Budweiser was like for a good minute, like
Yeah,
my favorite beer.
yeah. I could see why, if anything. We did have like a while back. We did have an episode. Check us out on that episode that we tried light beers and the history of beers. And honestly, I think Budweiser was like my favorite one out of all those fucking value beers, you would call it. But I don't know, it was just like more crisp. It was just more precise on things, just fresh, as opposed to like Bud Light or Corona. I was just like, I don't know. And then after that episode, I started getting like tall cans of those bad boys out of like the local liquor store, and I was just like, and it was for a good while, and then I stopped, and then I went back to my old ways. And then once in a while, I'll get a Budweiser, but Budweiser is just clean and crisp and just like boozy enough to like be enjoyable for that time being. But fuck, I should have fucking bought a Budweiser. Instead, I bought a fucking Stella. It's fine. We're good, if anything. But yeah, light beer has been a topic that me and Manny have been talking about because we've been talking about uh not doing an episode, but throwing a content involving like what's like a good light beer, because now we're noticing different new light beers because now we have Heineken Silver or whatever the fuck, and then Corona Oro. No, it's Modelo Oro, and then Corona. I forgot what that shit was, but they've been doing like light beers from lighter beers. And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what to think about that, but I don't know. It seems like they're all good, if anything, but we're trying to see like, okay, what's the next lightest beer? But I think Modelo might be the winner. I think that's like the second besides like a light, but I don't know. Maybe Modelo would be good for the other demographics if it can. Definitely recommend, if anything. Give it a try. I know the fucking what do you call it? The foil, the aluminum part of it. It's just like kind of like a little hard to do that. But once you rip it, use a lighter, just pop that bitch open. I think you should be good. But I think Modelo would be like a solid pick for those type of beers, if anything. Not to disres- not to disregard Bud Light, but to be honest, I have been disregarding Bud Light for a while, despite its controversies. When you think, yes, no,
Mm, I mean, I don't know. I don't have much to say about it.
yeah, well, not the controversy, just Bud Light itself. This is
But
water,
no,
bro.
I don't know. It just always kind of tasted like watered down Bud. I was gonna go with
I never
Budweiser,
saw the
but
cost. Yeah, I never saw the big point of it. But I mean, besides that, it's all good, man. I know you've been saying like you've kind of been away from TV and movies and whatnot, but you have been getting more into books. Like, what kind of books have you been?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is about TV or film.
I
I
think it's
think it
just,
might have to do with the fact that
I think it's just
during the
fatigue.
pandemic I was watching a lot of TV and film, and
Yeah,
then during college I was watching TV and film. I don't know, but yeah, lately it's been books. It's been books. I've read The Alchemist. I've read Night by Elie Wiesel. Um, I've read Clockwork Orange. I've read also a couple comic books.
Clockwork Orange.
Before I get the comic books, also I read The Shinnery by Kate and J. Spelled Kate. It's spelled like anger, but it's pronounced NJ. Um, Shout out to her. She's my professor from college.
Oh, really?
Which is why I'm concerned why I'm pitching it like this.
Yeah.
It was a great read. It was a great read. The Shinnery. By Kate and J. It's a novel. Um, I read also a couple of comics: Heroes in Crisis, Identity Crisis. Um, I read a little bit of The Sandman, which is now a Netflix series.
Yeah.
I read The Three Jokers.
Uh, yeah.
This is like DC one, Batman one. I read. Uh, what's the latest one that I read from DC? Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come from DC.
Yeah, yeah. That one was cool. My favorite one from all the comic books, the comic book events, was Identity Crisis. That one's a must read. Um, Also read some other books like the novels that were like self help books or whatever. Mainly Atomic Habits by
That's the one I've been reading.
James Clear.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
That was a really good book. I gotta read that book again because like
Me too. I fell off of it. I was thinking about that book the other day. I'm just thinking about you. I'm just like reiterating what you just said. Like, oh, don't stop reading that book.
here's the thing about that book. Piece of advice for whoever's thinking about reading that book or picking that book up or whatever.
It's definitely good for writers.
Work on what James Clear is talking about as you're reading it. Don't just read it. Like, or I mean, the first time read it like that, but the second time for sure, figure out how to apply what he's talking about as you're reading it.
Yeah.
Um,
Apply that to your everyday habits.
yeah, because like I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I just read it like like reading material. I didn't really apply it, but to apply it, my mentality was like, okay, I'll apply it afterwards. But no, it didn't. It didn't work out that way, and I gotta go back to reading that book and apply it as I read along with it. That one I reread a little bit of the 48 Laws of Power. Reread that. That's a good book. That's one of the like
Yeah.
the biggest, but like it has
It's the biggest
got
influence
uh,
book of all time. Yeah.
hmm?
It's the most influenced book of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially among like people that are like of influence and stuff. So yeah, if anything. I only read like what the list is. I didn't read the book. Most people are just like, oh, read the list and then brief description of what each of them mean. But I get reading the book is like the full extension of what you're getting from whatever you
Yeah.
fucking Google.
Okay. I wouldn't recommend this. I would recommend reading the book, like
Yeah,
the whole
definitely.
book. But if you don't have time, or if you're lazy or something, I don't know. You It might serve you to know that there is a concise version of it. So instead of like reading like a book that's 400 and something pages,
Mhm.
there's a concise version of it that's only 200 and something pages. It's only half the size. I haven't read the concise version of it. Like my mentality was always finish the 400 page, the original version of it, and then from time to time, like throughout life, reread the 200, the concise version of it. Um, just as a reminder. But yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
he's also he's got a bunch of books. Like The Art of Seduction. I read that one. I gotta reread that one, or the concise version of it. He has concise versions of all his. For example, another book that got a lot of hype, well, low key, was Mastery. That one got some hype. It's definitely on my list. But yeah, so right now I think I'm reading. Okay, I'm reading right now. It's called The Black Hand. It's
Is it a mafia?
it's, yeah. So you know
Yeah.
about it a little bit, right?
Yeah, I do. I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about like it's this account of this former member of the Mexican mafia. But the funny thing is, like, okay, like at work I can get away with some reading. Like I'll do reading on the side. I don't want to get too much into what I do for work or whatever, because I don't know, that's a little depressing. But um, I um I can get away with some reading. So I'll take whatever I'm reading to work. You know, yeah, I'll take it to work. Um, but that book, I don't know. I'm not taking that book to work, just because like there's a
No.
lot of like that book's frowned upon a little bit in Southern California, because like the guy, not the author, not the writer, but like the guy, like the who who
The
the
guy that's
author
focused on.
documents.
Yeah.
He defected from, like, the Mexican mafia, which is a big deal in Southern California. Like, um, and like I just don't want people like asking me like, "Hey, dude, like, why are you reading that book? Like, that guy's like a freaking rat. Like, that guy's a snitch. This and that." Blah, blah. Like, I don't want people getting on like.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. If anything.
So like, um,
I mean, it's just
yeah,
same thing as reading like um Wise Guys, which is the novel based on like Goodfellas. And that's the kind of like uh
Henry Hill,
huh? Henry Hill.
Henry Hill.
Yeah, Henry Hill. And it's just like, oh, why are you reading about that snitch? It's just like, oh, okay, well, you're curious about the that case, or that story that he was a part of. Even if it's like biased and it's on one sided note on that story, it's just like it's just always curiosity that's you know motivating you to like read that type of stuff. It has nothing to do with your personal. Well, it does have to do with your person, but not the right side of your person. Like you're not big. just because you read that book doesn't make you a fucking rat. It just makes you like, okay, well, I'm curious to see this side of the story. You know what I mean? Because it's the only source or the source that's available for that story to be told and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah. So like I said, I'm not taking that book to work to read. So what I'm doing is I'm reading that at home, like that the Black Hand,
hmm
and I'm reading. I'm trying to read Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by Quentin Tarantino, the
yeah.
novel.
I also have
At
that.
work.
Yeah, I've yet to finish that too. But like for me, I feel like I want to read that, but at the same time, I kind of don't. Just like kind of not to discredit Tarantino himself. It's just like um I don't know. I just have another novel that I want to read as well. So I started rereading The Blood Meridian by uh Cormac McCarthy, which is the same writer as from No Country for Old Men, or what's the other one, The Road. And yeah, it's very bleak and very like discouraging, and just very yeah, super dark if anything. But this novel is no different from like his other works and stuff, and he's has a distinct style of writing that he's just like, okay, I kind of want to read this because it's a western. It's a western that's pretty dark and stuff. So
The Blood Meridian
The Blood Meridian.
or The Evening of Redness in the West.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's a certain style that you have to read it. Like he does not, I repeat, he does not use periods. So everything is just like running on, and you don't know when he's quoting, like when someone's speaking. It's just implied when someone's speaking. Like there's a sentence where it just said like, "Oh, it sounds like this sentence sounds like it's someone saying something," and most likely it is someone saying something, as opposed to a description. Um, that's very much like a little bit screenwriting. It's just like a different style that not a lot of people are used to. And if you're like a kid that it's like been taught that, oh, you have to use quotes when someone's speaking, or you have to write it in this certain way, he throws that shit away and makes it. He just writes as it is, and it's just like, okay. So it makes it a little bit harder to like kind of distinct that, and a little bit harder to interpret certain things. But overall, like if you get it, and if you're able to comprehend what it's going on in that story, it's really rich storytelling what he's doing. And the description for these characters and everything that's going on is really good. It's just very masterful. That's why he's able to get away with that type of stuff, you know. But yeah, I'll definitely recommend that if anything. But yeah, that's I guess that would be our book segment, if anything.
Yeah. I'm surprised you guys don't. Have you guys done an episode on books?
Wait, say that again.
Have you guys done an episode on books?
No, man, he
Yeah,
doesn't
I
read
guess
books.
should.
We
Like,
should. We
and not
actually
just
should.
like, okay, not, I mean, do whatever you guys want. It's your podcast, but I
We
mean,
do whatever we
I would
want.
probably do like novels and then like books on psychology,
Yeah, if
books on,
anything.
self help and all
Because
that.
most of our research is just online because it's just convenient. I mean, that's just how it is like modern days. It's just like you don't want to read like whole things when you have the internet where it gives you the information of what you need, and it doesn't take that much depending on which site you get to. But I mean, again, internet convenience, reading, not that much reading going on. But if you do read, it really does like benefit you in the long term, if anything. But uh, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna do books or anything. I know a couple of people that would be down for like sort of like a book club type of thing. and then everyone will share like, oh, what's the book that you would recommend to someone? But yeah, that's definitely like in the looks. I will say we will have a graphic novel episode actually pretty soon. To be honest,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
nice.
for sure. If anything, because
Um,
graphic novels are more pleasing than books, only because they have the visual aspect to it. About, but yeah,
yeah, it does some of the work for you. And not to. That's not a knock. Like the way they do the work, like the way they visualize the storytelling.
yeah.
That's quite wonderful. Like I mean, I remember a while back. Funny story. Like okay, so my cousin was really into comic books and manga. Back when he was in high school, and when he went to college, he left that behind. Like he went to college to go study and everything.
Hmm.
And like I went to college and like I was like, okay, I was curious about like his collection and everything. So I borrowed a couple of his collection. One of them was V for Vendetta, and like for the longest time, I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. I knew I had it in the house somewhere, but I couldn't find it. It wasn't until like this past November that I found it.
How
And
funny
guess
that it was
when? No, no,
November.
no, hold up.
No,
Guess what day I found it?
the 5th of November.
Yes.
It was meant
I
to be.
swear to God.
No, I'll take your word on it. That's meant to be.
Yeah, I texted my friend Ahmad, who's also like into comic books. He's like,
Yeah,
"Hey, dude, guess what I just found?" And he's like, "What?" And
today.
like, I took a picture of it. He's like, "Oh, cool." I'm like, "Dude, do you know what day it is today?" And he's like, "Oh," and like, "Yeah, it's the remember the 5th of November, like And he was like, "Dude, that's like an omen. Like you have to read it now." But I didn't.
Bro, no.
I don't know. Like right now, I think I'm saving it. Like I know. Right now, I think I'm saving it for like November 5th. This year, November 5th.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna read. I think that's what I'm gonna do that weekend. Like just read it.
that's a good idea. Drink your shame
But
away.
yeah,
I'm kidding.
but so I'll bring that book up. Bring that comic book up because like
We're gonna bring it out. Yeah.
the artwork on that book, even though like it's from I think the late 80s or early 90s.
Around that time. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually.
the artwork on that comic book is like see like a lot of people that don't know about comic books and not to like sound all like
No, no, by all means, go.
sophisticated or anything
Yeah.
like big headed or anything that I know much about comic books is I kind of barely hit the iceberg of it, like the tip of the iceberg of it. The thing about comic books is like the artwork that goes into them. It's really something. Like I just read what's that book? Oh, Kingdom Come. Dude, the illustrator for that book is Alex Ross. Do you know about Alex Ross?
No, I'm not familiar. I should.
Okay, he paints.
Okay.
He paints like he's a painter. He doesn't like draw.
Yeah,
Like
he
he
doesn't draw a
paints.
sketch. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So like DC or I think Marvel also like they hire him to paint like the illustration for like comic books. If you follow him on I believe his IG handler is the Alex Ross art or something. I don't know. Just search for Alex Ross. Like you'll find like his artwork, and it's just comic book like just illustrations for comic books. The covers. There's been sometimes like he won't do the whole comic book, but he'll do the cover for it, and like people straight out know that it's Alex Ross. because he paints, and it's like it's such a realistic. It's such a realistic illustration of um of comic books that like heroes and everything and the superheroes and everything like that. It looks so realistic. Like I can't even describe it. It really stands
I'm
out.
looking at his page right now, and it seems like it's vibrant. It's not just like realistic, but it's just like very vibrant in his artwork. Um,
Yeah,
that's not gonna show up, but
yeah,
I will show a link on that. If anything, it's
yeah,
very vibrant, just like very shiny, but it definitely has a lot of detail into it.
yeah. So so yeah, so that's what I've been reading lately.
Right.
I think the biggest one that I've like biggest material that I read is probably Orange.
Mm-hmm.
A Clockwork Orange. I took my sweet time reading that. It took longer than I should have. It took like 3 months to read that. I don't know, life and
Either
just
way, no
laziness.
pressure. It's not a fucking book assignment.
Yeah,
It's on your own interest. So
yeah. So I read that, and then I saw the movie. So
verdict.
from reading that, I read the introduction. I read the introduction, which was by the author. Uh, and like the author like uses the introduction to explain how at the time when it first got published, when that novel first got published, like it got published with okay, so like he intended for that novel to be in 3 parts, each part having 7 chapters, right?
Right.
But when he pitched it and then when he had the publishers read it, the feedback that he got was, "Hey, we love this. We would love to publish this. However, we we're not interested in that last chapter, in chapter 7 of part 3, which is the 21st chapter. So what we're offering is to publish this novel without that chapter." Um, there's and the author I'm blanking out on his name right now, but yeah, the author like he Anthony Burgess. And he wasn't he didn't like that. He because he intended the specific he goes into more detail why he like his intention why it was 7 chapters in three parts, a total of 21 chapters, because he feels like the age of 21 like it's a milestone.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, that's why we have laws, forbidding us from doing certain things until we're 21. Um, However, he explains that the reason why he abided by that offer, by that restriction or whatever, was because like many artists, he was broke. He needed the money. Um, so that's why he came to peace with the fact that, okay, well, this is gonna get published, but it's only minus the last chapter. Um, Minus the last chapter. He he accepted the offer, and in America, in the states, that's how it got published. Not only is that how it got published, but that's how the movie, the script was written.
Yeah. The rights were already there for the book.
Yeah, So the movie and the book that the states the novel that they got was
Mhm.
different from what other countries got. You know,
Yeah,
nowadays, like the novel that I read, you get the last chapter, that the one that the ending that he wanted, which is great. As an artist, I understand. Like I get it.
yeah. He got the director's
However,
cut.
huh? Hmm?
He got the director's cut. As if it were to be filmed, that would be considered like a director's cut. It's the cut that the director intently wanted.
Yeah. Now, before I give you my take on the whole issue, and just as a piece of art itself, as a novel and as a movie,
Yeah,
what's your take on it? I know you haven't read the novel, but
yeah,
you've seen the movie, right?
yeah. So the movie definitely has like the concepts there, and I could see like maybe the novel has more of a concise, much more extended version of those concepts being fully expressed. But I could totally see about like how it's a movie about. It's definitely a dystopian movie. The background is like the whole setting, but it's also a movie about like um damn, I'm trying to find a word for it, but having control, especially with like a government that's trying to achieve utopia, but also about like
Totalitarian.
huh?
Totalitarian.
Yeah, totalitarian. Just trying to be a utopia in the progress of it all. Also, it's being about like if I would say maybe it's an extension of it, but like nature versus nurture, but also like having it's also a movie about identity. It's also a movie about like um deterrency, the psychology of a human being, its individuality, and just crime in itself, and also oh, I already said individuality, and also just like re rehabilitation of like oneself when someone becomes like too dangerous in the means of society and all that. So it's just like all that shit fails because it's not natural. Because at the end of the fucking movie, he just goes back into his own fucking ways and stuff. It's just like not preservation, but it's just going back into like uh I'm blacking out the word, lack for better words, but just like that individuality, it's just like you are what you are, that nature of it all.
Like there's no growth.
There is definitely no growth, but the potential for growth, they wanted it to go there, but it's not there at all. You know,
Hmm.
for it to
All right.
change, it's just like
Hmm?
for it to change as a person, sometimes it's just like the wiring of a character is it's just like there. It's just always constant. And having to change it is just unnatural on part of itself, which is really interesting when it comes to like criminal justice or criminology. I can't fucking pronounce that word, but it's going on that basis of those type of things, you know. But yeah,
Yeah,
I I like what the comps are about, even though it's a hard fucking watch. The rape scenes are fucking disgusting. What he does is fucking disgusting, but the points are being fucking made there, you know.
yeah. I think I think you were able to consume and digest everything that the well most of what the writer wanted you to consume and digest, like take from his art. However, a few things. in his introduction, from what I read, is that I don't know, he kind of belittles. It felt like he belittled a little bit of his work here in this novel.
Really?
He said he doesn't quite understand. I mean, he understands, but he doesn't. He feels like he should have gotten more praise for his other work. Like he feels like this piece of work like got praise, way more praise than it should have, and he understands why.
Okay,
He
yeah, I
says,
get it. Yeah.
it touches on the aspect of like violence and what that has to do with humanity. Um. Also, like he explains like what most um like his audience from the states and what they got was mostly not the whole thing. Like I read the novel. In fact, I remember because I have a coworker who's a huge fan of the movie and the book. I remember asking him like, okay, should I read that last chapter or should I just ignore it and watch the movie and like pretend like that chapter doesn't exist? He told me no, read the last chapter. That's how he intended for the story to end. So I did that. Now the last chapter does offer you some growth within the character. Like
Okay.
he you see diversity, the diversity between who he's becoming and who we were introduced to. You get me? The character.
Right.
Um, However, the way chapter that the 20th chapter ends, the way that chapter 6 part 3 ends, that is such an epic ending, and that's the way that the film ends. You know, I believe the last line was "I'm cured" or whatever. That is so epic, dude. Even though I read the novel and I know the original intention that the author, the original creator intended. Uh, I don't know. I kind of agree with the publishers, which is rare for me because like I'm usually just such a like a supporter of like whatever the artist intended. That's what we should go with. But I can see why the publisher restricted him. Like okay, like we love this, but the last chapter it just doesn't hit the same as the chapter before. We could end it with you know and
Yeah.
have such a you know, but still the 21st chapter that chapter 7 part 3 it it gives you less of a closure. You get me? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't, it's more open ended. Like, oh wow, like the possibilities of this character, like it just leaves you wondering, like, wow, what became of this character?
Yeah. It
Um,
yeah, it does give you that paradox at the end. And just the way that you're describing it's just like, okay, well, definitely a closure, but then more on this character, more possibilities. So it's just like, oh, it's an open-ended paradox. It's just like you didn't know you need it, but maybe that's interesting to know that it was there. You know?
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I I don't know.
Huh.
Like
It's
I
it's a little conflicting to you, right? It's like,
yeah, it
yeah,
is. But I don't know, cause like okay, it reminds me of I don't know if you're also familiar with
what you call, what you call?
Waiting for Godot.
Which one?
Waiting for Godot. It's
I
spelled
heard about it.
Godot.
Good dough.
Godot.
Holy shit, that sounds
Yeah, we we brushed up on it on
in
theater
theater
classes.
class, right? That's why I know about it.
Okay, so that's one of the biggest plays that's that's been created in like the past century or so.
Yeah. When was it published first?
It must have been around the 70s, 80s.
Okay.
But here's the thing: it's the biggest absurdist piece.
Right.
You get me?
Remind me.
Okay,
Okay. Remind me what that story is about, or what that play was about.
so it's about these two characters, right? These two guys. I forget their names, but their whole purpose as you know, beings, as human beings or whatever, is at the moment and as long as they can remember, has been their whole purpose has been waiting for this arrival of this being called Godot or whatever, like this human being or whatever. Like they don't know who they're waiting on, but for some reason they're waiting on this being called Godot. And every day, at the end of the day, someone from Godot's, community or what servitude or whatever arrives and tells them, "Oh, Godot," something along the lines of Godot sends his apologies, but Godot will not be arriving today. He extends not only his apologies, but you know his wishes for you to. He hopes he's optimistic. Hopes that you wait for him for tomorrow. He will do his best to arrive tomorrow.
Right.
So the characters do just that. They wait, and every day it's the same thing.
Mm.
They wait for the adult,
Yeah.
and every day someone from the adult's camp comes in, arrives, and tells them they offer their apologies, and they offer, like,
Will
we're
actually come
sorry,
through.
we're sorry, we. But Godot expresses like you should wait.
Yeah.
Now
I
the
it,
piece itself, huh?
yeah. I I gathered enough information from that, and from what I could say, it's like, uh, first thing on my mind is cult, cult, cult. But it's definitely like a story of about what it means to have faith, and just like anything, it doesn't even matter if it's a fucking cult or a legitimate religion, but those ideas are definitely there. You know.
Yeah. And now let me do a little bit of a let me diverse a little bit in
No, go ahead.
do a little bit of dive deep into this. Yeah. Um, it does speak on faith and everything. But it does also, how to explain this, because it does, it speaks on faith and like our, uh, as humans, our ability to speak and to our ability to our patience
Right.
to just withstand, that we're waiting for
Yeah.
like our significance. You get me? Like
Right.
what what why we're here. It does speak on that, but it also he the creator, the author Samuel Beckett, like he's gotten a lot of flack on the fact that there's no growth, there's no character arc. You know,
Yeah.
it's just them waiting. Now stuff happens while they're waiting. You know,
Right.
like much like how we're waiting. You know,
Yeah. No, no. Just the fact that you just said waiting and then stuff happens. I feel like as an audience, you're absorbing like, okay, well, they're proving the fact that maybe it isn't worth waiting for this guy or for this entity. But as these things are going along, the main characters are not like fully self-aware or not taking into account of like, well, there's a lesson to be learned about this while you're going through this, and you're telling me that there's no personal growth. So it's just like, okay, the point is not for them to have the growth. The point is for us to recognize that there's a point being made as the story is being progressed. It's sort of like a character that's like unaware in a lot of like in when it comes to comedy, a lot of comedy, like the character can't recognize what they were aware of, but we are, and it's just like funny to see that it's we're able to see that, but they can't in a way. So I don't know. I think
now,
it feels
yeah,
like we're coming back to
now
speaking.
I'm sure.
Sure,
I don't know. I mean,
that's
I
my
don't know. Maybe,
interpretation. I'm just saying
huh?
that's my interpretation based on what you were saying. That's
Yeah,
that's just what I'm
it's
thinking of.
it's pretty much the point. But the thing is, like, some of the audience members they may be familiar with Waiting for Godot, but some of them may not, and that's all right. The thing is, good Waiting for Godot, the creator never really explained or bothered to really fully, you know, cross all his T's and dot all his I's.
Mhm.
But people speculate, like people, argue that, oh, Waiting for Godot is waiting for God,
Yeah,
Godot,
it's
Godot,
yeah,
God, right?
right. It's pretty
In that
obvious
sense,
in the
like
saying.
as in, not. I hate to bring this up because like it's fully biased on
I think
Christianity
it's
and
just
everything.
religion in
And
general.
not that I have anything against
Yeah.
Christianity and anything, but like, you know, yeah, waiting for God. Um, and us just waiting for like second coming of Jesus or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if
Um,
anything, we're happy. Yeah,
hmm?
if anything, we're happy because I don't think it's just criticizing Christianity. I think it's just religion in general.
Yeah. So yeah. So I bring that up because like a Clockwork Orange has kind of at least the movie and like the first the version that first got published has that same type of arc where it comes back around.
Yeah,
You get me? Like the character, there's not much growth to it. Like he goes through something that changes and that has potential of changing him or whatever forever,
hmm,
but he finds a cure or whatever, and like he's back to like being cured and being human, even if that is this violent and
yeah,
this rapey vibe version of him.
yeah. I think the point is like it's not the growth; it's just us absorbing from what the character is um having to track in his journey because it's just like oh he's an unaware person that doesn't have the growth, but the lesson is just like oh we get to see his flaws and we're taken away from what he's doing wrong or what he's going through what's wrong. That's just like that was the whole point of it. If we're able to recognize that, then I think the movie or the art itself is doing its job itself from getting those lessons and those concepts itself. But no, I definitely do see your point on both Clockwork Orange and then Waiting for Godot. But yeah, I definitely don't remember Waiting for Godot. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But that sounds interesting. Maybe it just wasn't the right time to for me to
Well,
know about
it
that.
may have to do with the fact that our instructor at the time of directing or whatever, he wasn't really such a big fan of it. He's not a really big fan of it.
Yeah,
He, that's the thing about Waiting for Godot. Like, there's people that just do not care for that play.
yeah. I think it's
Like, they
like
don't.
at a certain time, or maybe not even time, but certain person, but a certain time, certain factors within that person to know or to get that piece.
Well, from talking to that instructor, because okay, that instructor like they didn't really care for that play, but still, it was part of our
It was,
curriculum.
yeah, I think it was worth mentioning that he just put it out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it was Jahan who presented that play. That they talked about
right.
that play. They
Yeah.
give a presentation on that play.
You know what? I
Um,
remember that time and period because we each had to research different plays. Get yeah. Do you remember
yeah,
mine?
yours?
Yeah, Anna.
Huh?
I'm just gonna give you one name, Anna.
And then the truckers?
No,
Wait,
Russian.
huh? The Darren Van Frank?
I'm probably not even saying the right title, but it was Anna. Co- I'm not. It's a full name, but I remember it was a piece about a a point in Russian history where the Serbs and basically the wealthy there was a class system going on, and it was about a play about exactly that topic, but also it was much more that I didn't get at the time, and it was just like it was an interesting thing because I got to learn more about that history in Russia, and also got to learn about like what that play was about when it comes to like class system, and then just like where everyone fits in that infrastructure of society at that time, at that place, at that, you know, at that thing. And it was a commentary. This play was a whole commentary on that, and that's what I got from that fucking play. But I had to revisit that, and thank you for reminding me that it was Johan's play, because now I remember we did an assignment for that, because it was definitely a fucking interesting uh point in my point in my life where I had to go through that, and then also to learn about that. It's just like it was an education. But yeah, sorry it was about me, but I don't remember. What was your assignment? Sorry.
Um, the first time around, because I think the first semester was like that partners or whatever.
Wait, was that the first semester or the second semester that assignment got put in? I honestly I can't. I feel like it was the second.
Well, the first semester we had to do with a partner, and the second semester
Really?
we had to do it on our own. I forget why, but at first the first semester I did it with I did it on a play called Miss Julie.
Right. I don't. I don't know. Did you
I
present it
did it
at?
with Fernando. Remember Fernando?
Yeah, I do remember Fernando.
Yeah, I did it with Fernando. The play, I don't know. I gotta read it. Basically about like this this young lady from high society having an affair with like someone from the lower class, and just because she had an affair with that guy, like he feels like that says all about class or something on the lines of those along those lines. The second semester was Full for Love by Sam Shepard.
I think I remember that
Yeah. Um, yeah. But yeah. Oh, so yeah, and I mean not to ignore, Sam Shepard. They'd be like, you know, Waiting for Godot and the Clockwork Orange have the similar criticism. Only because, Anthony Burgess produced, he was pressured into, editing that last chapter out. Um, which again, I don't know. I probably got to revisit the whole concept of the Clockwork Orange, but I can see why the publishers told him that, because I believe that was his first novel, and I remember being, you know, like new to writing and like storytelling. I remember having that issue. Like I went beyond the ending, the appropriate ending for a play, and like my should telling me, "Oh, yeah, you kind of wrote beyond what you were supposed to." Like, and I remember him marking like this star around the ending that should have been like here. This seems like an appropriate ending for your play. Yeah, you kind of went
one. Oh, okay. Yeah.
beyond that.
Yeah.
Start writing other stuff, like
I
be
think that was
beyond
a
the
big
characters,
lesson
like
learning that. Yeah.
more than what we needed. So I kind of get it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you know, but ending you want to take you want to go with. Okay, that might at this point it might be like a personal choice. You know,
Yeah.
you might read the novel and get to chapter 20, which is again chapter 6, part 3,
As
and
opposed
then
to
say,
chapter seven,
"Oh,
part. Yeah.
No, this hits this wraps up quite nicely, like
Yeah.
a nice little bow.
It's
You know?
yeah, it's a cue.
Yeah, you know.
Both endings are both a cue. One meant for a good amount of people, one meant for like again a good amount of people. It's just what it is, if anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
So
that's how it is. Yeah.
so you might get to that, but here's the thing. Here's my other take on it that I told my coworker who's a huge fan of it. The movie, it shouldn't have been a movie, and I get that this was made in the 1970s, I believe,
Yeah, experimental.
but it shouldn't have been a movie.
I get
For
it.
one,
Yeah.
it was a novel. Like I mean, I feel that's how I feel about most novels. To be honest with you, like I feel like no, they should just get it as a novel. But I get the whole, oh, we can make more money out of this if we
Yeah.
make it into
I don't think
like I
it's
get
just
that.
like money. I think it's just like the film version of what it could be. You get the concept, you get the point of the movie, and that's just what it is. And then the novel is just like an extension, like, oh, it could have been told much more for what that movie would have been. It's just, it's platforms. Every platform, every fucking medium is different. And for what the movie is, I think it was appropriate for what it was telling based on what the novel was saying. But the novel is just like, this is what the novel is for its full extension, for its full use of the medium. That's what it is, you know?
Yeah, but here's the thing, and let me phrase that as a question now that
Right.
you left into this whole field. Wouldn't it have been better as a miniseries?
I mean, they could do that now because miniseries wasn't a thing at the time of the
Yeah,
70s.
that's a good point. But if it was a thing, like if it was up to you, like if I came up to you with this, this story, or would you have decided to make it into a movie or a miniseries?
At the time being that I'm living right now, being a miniseries, like a limited series, is the way to go.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
No, I agree
that's
with you. Yeah.
like that argument that you made just right now that miniseries wasn't a thing, back then. Although I mean, some historians might argue otherwise, but I think the point that they're trying to make is that it wasn't what a miniseries is now. The type of content that it is now, um, which is a valid point, is a strong point. But if it was, like, let's say if we had to make the decision right now, miniseries is the way to go. Yeah, and I think we both know why, and it's because the details in the story they had to be told, like they had to be expressed, they had to be in the story, like they can't. This isn't like Harry Potter, like you can't just make do without those details, you get me.
Mhm.
Although some people would, especially the people that have read the,
Yeah.
the movie crap, because like the details in the novels are like you know
Yeah.
what makes Harry
Especially the
Potter,
third one. Yeah, I would say.
But yeah, that was my biggest thing. Like one of like the biggest thing with the Clockwork Orange. Like as soon as I was done watching, halfway into the movie, I was like, this is this is developing way too. This is way
A
too
little too fast. Yeah.
underdeveloped. You get me?
Yeah.
Like it's not getting to like the core of each moment in this story. You know, it needs to be like like they need to take more time with it, and fully develop it.
Right.
Each chapter of the story.
Yeah.
Um,
Can I say one
yeah,
thing? It's funny how like the movie version of novels that are meant to be much bigger are condensed down to like 2 hours, and they're meant to be like the greatest piece of cinema ever. And yet, as we're progressing along in our audiences want more, but yet they have attention span of a fucking, child that is just like, oh, well, that's good enough. But now at this time, we want more. But more means you have to pay more fucking attention to what this fucking material is asking for. And it's just funny that it's just like, okay, that's the right way to go. And I agree. But the condensed version is just like, okay, you would think like the people that wanted attention, that have less attention span, will want that version. But no, they want the much bigger version of what they were asking for. And it's just like, okay, tell it to us that, but like in little segments and episodes, 35, 45 minute episodes. And it's just like, okay, so that way we're able to digest and stuff. So it's really like, speaking of the zeitgeist from back then till now, and it's just like, okay, it's weird, but I think it makes complete sense as to why that is. I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, like you said earlier, it could be done now.
It could be done now. There's more
Yeah,
detail. And I think the attention to detail is much more important for people now than it was back then. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I just seen the Flash, not to deter from what you're saying, but people like the Flash because I think it's the detail of the Easter eggs that are hidden in that movie more than it is important what the plot point or the story of what that movie is about, if anything. But having to s- give the details and the concepts that's like in those novels are much more important than anything else. And yeah, you could totally remake this movie into a mini series by all means. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think that's a better movie. Just to see like, okay, what was this guy trying to say? Or it's benefiting more the author than it is like whoever's directing it, if anything. Because I think who benefits the most out of that movie is Kubrick, because he was about big concepts and being told within like more than 2 hours worth of material. But yeah, I totally see the difference. I'm just pointing that shit out.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, it's
I'm blurring out.
definitely. I don't know. So much to wrap up with one podcast.
Yeah, definitely. I know it's pretty bloated, but I mean, I'm pretty good right now. I mean, is there anything else you want to point out?
No, no. I think we're good for now.
Yeah. If anything, definitely was a good talk. If anything, now I'm blurring out, and I think that's a cue to end it because it's not gonna get better after this. It's definitely not gonna be a fucking Clockwork Orange. All right, man. It's nice talking to you. This conversation has been interesting. I did not expect turns that we turn, but it's definitely something that is definitely in the means of craft, in the means of art, and all that shit. Man, I mean, I didn't expect I uh I didn't expect nothing less from you coming out. I mean, it's always a good conversation bringing you in on this shit, and I fucking love that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
All right, I'm kind of pooped. I'm sure you're pooped, and
yeah,
this is just another installment on Golden Craft Cast. And I keep saying that fucking shit. But it is an installment because everything is part of a piece of a much larger thing. Me, art, us as a whole, we're talking about arts and crafts, and that's what it is. And maybe you could see something within that. So I don't know. Give us a like, subscribe. We're at Golden Craft Cast
Welcome to
at
Golden Craft.
IG, Golden Craft Run, gmail.com. If you want to give us any comments, any feedback, or anything, subscribe, talk to us. If anything, suggest anything. This has been a good one. I'm Soju. That's Erik. We'll be back with another good banger, if anything. And yeah. Alright, peace out. Erik.